Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Omega Insight. The topic is vision or vice. Now, what really got me thinking about this is about a month ago, I stumbled across this journal. It's called Define My Day. Now, those of you who know me, I love to journal. I always like gratitude journaling in the morning or in the evening. You do an evening review and whatnot. So I thought this would be an interesting thing. The thing I liked about it is, well, one of the first things it says big steps, small steps, and big results, excuse me. And so it's just a journal for the month to keep yourself to track your daily goals, your weekly goals, and a monthly goal, the progress that you've made, and not to make it too much overwhelming, but like take a task at a time, prioritizing things, which of course it interests me. I love the to-do list that you have there. And then there's the reviews at night. You check what you do for the day, and then the evening review, you review your day at night. And so this is something I was thinking, wow, this is a great thing to implement in my life, which I love tasks orientated. I love being task orientated. But what got me thinking about this is I know some people that journal a great deal, and their home is filled with journals that they hold on to, boxes and boxes of journals, and they never review it. And I wonder, what's the point of writing it down if you're not going to go and review it? It's almost like they're addicted to the action of journaling, but not the implementation of what they're doing. And that's what got my mind thinking about being a vision or a vice. Can my vision literally turn into a vice? And how do we know that? Um, so many times we're focused on the task, we miss on the whole project or the ultimate thing of what we're going for, our goal or our path. And it can be very easy to shift from a vision to a vice. Now, when I think about visions, the dictionary has many different types of definitions for visions. The ability able to see, obviously, we talked about clarity last week, so I have vision, I can see, or the ability to think about a plan or a future, implementing my imagination and wisdom to create a vivid mental image. That's another thing, a vision. And so then, vice. What does a vice mean? Now, the dictionary actually, vice is an immoral or wicked behavior, and that's not really where I'm going with this, or the characteristics of a wicked person. There is a definition that it says a weakness of character or behavior, or perhaps a bad habit. Now that I'd like to connect to. Honestly, when I thought about the word vice, I thought about, for those of you who know what a vice grip is, it's that very tight thing that when you press together in a clamp, that's a clamp, essentially, a vice grip. But it's more like it's a tool. I'm just going to say that. So it holds things in place, adds pressure to hold things in place. So it's a hold tight, and I thought, well, what about our vision? Doesn't our vision require us to hold something tight, like a vice grip, to hold it in place so that we can succeed? That makes sense. And then there's the question. So where does it turn into a vision, from a vision into a vice? For example, we could look at eating. A lot of people are on diets. We want to do healthy eating. Clean eating is a big thing. So how do we know that my diet, my vision of dieting, doesn't turn into a vice? So much so that I'm counting calories. I mean, really counting to the calorie count. I'm not saying calorie counting is bad. I think calorie counting is fine if that's what you want to do. But I mean going beyond counting calories, knowing that if I have 2,000 calories a day and I limit myself to only 1,000 or maybe 500, that's unhealthy. So when I'm counting those calories and make sure I don't go past it, I actually can turn my healthy eating into bulimia or some unhealthy addiction. Working out. I know everybody loves to work. I should retract that statement. Not everybody loves to work out, but we know the necessity of working out. Working out 30 minutes a day. There are some people who work 4 or 5 hours a day because they really want to build up the muscle tone. Again, not bad, but when it becomes an addiction that you need to get to the gym or that you're not sleeping because you're still working out, that's not healthy for us. Or perhaps maybe you have a love interest, somebody that you're interested in dating, and you're reaching out to them, sending them texts and emails and phone calls, and then eventually that could turn into harassment. It could be too much addiction, or even like turning into stalking is what it could turn into, or the joking. Joking can also, in joking, just joking around in the office and practical jokes, and that can turn into something very inappropriate, like harassment as well. So there seems to be a fine line between vision and vice. It seems like vision is supported by vice, and the vice seems to be supported by what was initially a vision, and it turns into a character or a bad habit. It can turn into that. Of course, anybody knows about prescription drug addiction. Nobody really said, "Hey, I want to be addicted to Percocet," or "Hey, I want to be addicted to oxycodone." It just happened because they were in so much pain, and what was helping them ended up injuring them because they became addicted to the prescription. Now, there seems to be a line. There should be a line. And what if we discover that our vision has turned into a vice? Well, first of all, it's difficult to discover it without outside feedback, because when we're in it and we only see one thing, we're not going to be able to see that we're turning it into a vice. So we need assistance. Our feedback comes from family and our friends who say, "Hey, are you okay? You're working out 6, 7, 8 hours a day, or you're not eating enough. I notice that you're not eating enough." Or you're getting a little creepy with your emails to that one person. So feedback is essential. Now, sometimes when we receive feedback, we get offended. "Well, don't tell me. No, I need this." And once you recognize that you get defensive, that somebody's giving you feedback, then you realize there may be a problem. Because when we receive feedback, you can simply say, "Oh, no, I'm okay. I'm really working to get to this last 10 pounds, or one more week." And this, if there seems to be a limited and a goal, and yes, they're going to end at a certain time, okay, that's great. But if you're not, you can simply say, "Wow, I was unaware of that," or "Thank you." But feedback's another topic. So the idea is, once it's brought to your attention that your vision is turning into a vice, what can you do? And there are several steps that we can take to turn it around, to reset ourselves back onto our vision, and it doesn't turn into a vice. It doesn't mean, give everything up immediately. Naturally, of course, you don't want to give everything up. But break the cycle is what you do. And I don't mean break the stationary bike. I mean break the cycle of being, usually when we're on that, when it turns into a vice, we have an emotional attachment to it. So breaking that cycle would be helpful for us. This means stop what you're doing, stop everything, take one day off. Just break the cycle. A day or 2 days, take a week. Whatever it needs for you to just break your thought pattern of the need to get this done, as opposed to the desire or the want, or this is my dream. So take a break. And when you come back, reset your intentions. So in other words, with limits, there has to be limits. If you want to work out, I'm going to work out 30 minutes a day for 5 times a week. That's a nice limitation. They say you should work out 6 times a day, 30 minutes, helpful cardio. Now, of course, if you're going for strength training, you might add a little bit more. But again, make sure that it's written out and that there is a limitation on it. It's for 30 minutes, this is it, and then I will stop. Or I'm going to do 12 sets of different exercises, 3 sets of different exercises for 12 rotation, whatever. When you make that plan, and then you have to stick to it. But having the limitations is important. It's the same thing about, eating. Okay, I know I'm supposed to eat 2,000 calories a day. I will eat up to 2,000 calories a day. I'll stay away from the sugar, stay away from the, quote, fattening foods, or the things that you can't eat, but not eating. That's important. Or those of you who's on the computer, let's say you're job searching, and You can job search until 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, not get a night's sleep. Well, that doesn't do you any good. So give yourself a limitation. I will spend 2 hours a day looking for a job. Those of you who are writers, I will spend 4 hours a day writing, and then I have to close the book and get on to other things that I need to do. So again, limitations is important. I don't want to say limitations because that's got a bad connotation to it, but having a limit, an end point. This is my duration period. Mark it, make it specific. And then ask yourself the question, is my vision beneficial? Is it beneficial to me? Is it beneficial to others? If I'm spending 4 hours in the gym, who's missing out on my time? If I'm not eating healthy and I'm sleeping all the time, or I'm not feeling good, how is that going to affect my family? So those are things to consider and reset your intention. You want to make sure that you're going to be doing this and it doesn't hurt or injure. And finally, the last thing to do is to enlist a buddy to help you. Find a friend, someone you love and trust and really know they're going to tell you the truth, and have them hold you accountable. Hey, I just wrote down what my intentions are. This is what I'm going to do. Can I check in with you? And actually have them do it with you. Hey, how'd you do today? Did you work out? Just a quick check-in, even if it's just an email or a text, but a phone call is nice to have the conversation. But a check-in, having a buddy, somebody to check in with you to make sure that you're staying on your path and not veering off towards a vice. It's very easy. I am guilty of this too. It is very easy to go on a vision and get so addicted and narrow-minded and pointed to it that we forget and see other things around us. It's very easy to do that. And that's why, as I said, it's important to have family, friends, and loved ones around to support us, and have a buddy system whenever we're doing any of these. I know back in the old days we used to mention that anytime you decide you're going to do something, it's important that you announce it, but not to the world. Announce it to 1 or 2 people who you know are going to hold you accountable, and that's it. We stop talking about it because it's really not about, it's about your own improvement. So that's the concept that I have today about visions and vices. I encourage you to look at your visions this week and see if you have any signs of it turning into a vice. And if it has turned into a vice, what can you do to turn it around? Who can you solicit to or enlist? Who can you enlist to assist you to get yourself back on path or to stay on the path? Thank you for joining me this evening. I truly appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday. I am going to do a Friday coffee talk. I'm committed to doing it at 8 o'clock in the morning. I think that's going to be my new time. I'm going to stick with 8 o'clock in the morning. And as always, if you are interested in registering for an Omega-1, please go to our website, and we are still looking for a place to deliver an Omega-2. If you happen to know of anything, please go ahead and send us an email or drop us a phone call at 602-430-3370. Thank you again, and have a wonderful evening. Bye now.